Hey, welcome back to the Virgo channel. My name is Laura. If you're new to the channel, I'm going to do a general message for Virgo. Know that energy is fluid, roles could be reversed. Interpret the message as it best resonates with you. Also, know on this channel, I like to go deep within my reading. So we look at everything, but we take more time to look at the spiritual blocks, the shadows, see how they play out as karmic themes. Now, you got to keep that in mind when listening to the reading because the reading is always going to point out all the spiritual blocks, and it's going to be more of a therapy style to it. All right. Though it is a psychic reading, it just goes into explaining why everyone does what they do. And that will help you understand why you attract who you attract and what you would need to do in order to shape shift this situation, because there's many different realities that play it at one time. Your level of consciousness will be what manifests as your karma, right? Karma is made consciously as well as subconsciously. So when we have a shadow, we again form behaviorisms that are in alignment with that particular shadow. The problem is that we create these survival mechanisms when we're going through a time of imbalance. And time of imbalance is if we're like in an environment with somebody that we don't trust, if we are in a relationship with someone that continually gaslights, someone that makes us not trust ourselves. Again, we form behaviorisms that are in alignment with being in that environment. But the problem is that when we get out of that environment, we're still bringing the behaviorisms with us. So what you'll see is survival mechanisms that you've created in childhood are what's actually blocking you from manifesting a healthy relationship now. And again, there's many different realities that play it at one time. So when you meet a soul mate, a karmic mate, a past life, a twin flame, any type of soul family relationship, it does have the potential to be a balanced relationship. Now, you can't make anyone do anything. However, it's usually the dynamic of you and that person together that is what winds up manifesting as the negative karma. But when you change your behaviorisms, well, again, that completely changes the dynamic of the relationship. Now, if you don't get it, just follow along. I promise you will. I want to also just say thank you all for being patient with me. I've been not on as often for the past few days because my husband just passed away in the middle of July, and I'm running around still with his estate here in Florida. It takes 3 weeks alone just to get our ashes back, just to get the death certificate back. So I literally just got the death certificate back. So I have to run around and take care of a lot of those things. And every time I try and be on regularly, something happens where I can't. Like yesterday, I wanted to go on and I had a flood in my kitchen. So, of course, I had to call the plumber, and an hour project turned into 9 hours, and he has to come back on Monday because I wound up doing the whole water system because we bought an old house. So, as I said, when it rains, it pours, but that's what life is, right? We have to go with the flow and roll with the punches, and everything's in divine order, even when we don't think that it is. And so I'm living testimonial to that right now. So I want to thank everyone again for being patient. I want to also thank everyone for all your likes, shares, and subscribes, and your prayers, and your blessings, and your warm wishes for my difficult time that I just went through. Again, I really appreciate you guys. I love you guys. I love your comments. Keep them coming. I read every single one. And I'm still choosing the word of the day. Now, for those of you that don't know about the word of the day, every time I do a video, you have an opportunity into entering into winning a free reading with me. But you have to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and then also write the word of the video. The word of the video is always on the first card that I pull out, and it's the underlining energy that tells me why everyone's doing what they're doing. This is important when you're looking at shadows and inner child wounds. All right. So again, once you receive the winner, because that's what I'll write underneath your comment, you just reach out to me through my email. And that information and all other important information you can find in the description box below. The word of the day, because I say it in the beginning of the video, most likely you might, forget it. It's easy to forget it. So like I said, you don't have to rewind the video because that's a pain in the ass. God knows that you let too much, not enough, and you never find the word. So easy access. All right, let's jump right on in and see what that word of the video is. I hope everyone's having a great Saturday. All right, let's see. The word of the video is neglect, self-neglect. You know, I feel like you were playing chicken with someone for a long time, like you were deliberately holding back from this person and they were deliberately holding back from you. They wanted you to cave to them. And what I feel like is so much time has gone by that what they realized is that you're not really even holding back anymore, that you're just not interested. You're not interested, that you're over it. And it's because this person neglected the relationship. And they not only neglected the relationship, but they self-neglected because they want love. But there's a sense almost like they don't believe that they're deserving of it. They believe that they don't have enough to offer. And they also know that when they met you and they were dealing with you, they were an asshole. So there's a little bit of pride and ego. And when I say asshole, they were talking to multiple people. They were pretending that they were, really interested in establishing a relationship. They weren't really interested in forming a monogamous relationship. This person was a party person. This person didn't see your worth. They were in a different frame of mind. They were in a party frame of mind. And I feel like you've always been business, always been to this person. They always saw you as a little bit boring. Like you never talked dirty to them. You never talked to them about their body. You never talked to them about how good looking they are. You never fed their ego. So you always talked to them about business or stuff, things that were happening in the world, but never personal stuff about yourself. So there's an air of mystery to you, which has actually kept this person intrigued. This person normally gets very bored with people. So I feel like they neglected the relationship because they're like, I don't really need love. That's what they thought in the beginning. Then they thought, well, you'll come back. Normally people play this game with them and they're stubborn and they normally hold back and they don't care. They care now. And so what they've seen is that they neglected this relationship, and in the fact that they neglected this relationship, that they didn't just screw you, but they screwed themselves. They neglected themselves. But at the root of it is this person doesn't trust themselves in relationships. They don't know whether they want to get back into a relationship because every time they get into a relationship, it never works out. So the underlying energy is that this person is holding back, but they don't want to hold back. But it's almost like I feel like their ego and their pride is in the way. So let's see what it was like dealing with this person. We already see that they breadcrumb, that they didn't really give anything, that they're not very emotionally intelligent. They haven't done any healing. They'd rather hold back instead of form a relationship. We're down here in physical form to learn and to manifest, and through our relationships we learn the most. But you have to be willing to compromise. And like I said, I feel like this person's my way or the highway. They're stuck in their ego. So again, I feel like this person wanted you to give up too much of your power. They didn't really want to give you anything, but in the fact that they weren't giving you anything, they were hoping that you would give them more. And it's really because this person doesn't really feel like they feel like there's something wrong with them when it comes to relationships. They feel inadequate. They don't feel like they fit in anywhere. They overthink. And this is what happens with trauma. When a person has gone through a lot of bad relationships, what happens is that they overthink. And then what happens is when they overthink, they create psychological reversals where this person tried to create a persona like a rebel without a cause. Like, I don't really care. I don't really care. So if you want to be in a relationship with me, you're going to give up all your power. You're going to do all the work because I believe that I'm all that. I believe that I'm entitled to that. And this is what happens when person's really is wounded. A lot of times they come across as really arrogant. The psyche doesn't feel good to say I'm inadequate, there's something wrong with me. So what it does is it forms an alter ego, and that alter ego is self-righteous, it's cocky, and it's all ego. So I feel like this person, again, they overcompensated in their feeling of inadequacy. They went overboard to make it feel like I don't really care. Again, if you want to be with me, you're going to put in all the effort. I believe that I'm a good catch. I believe you should chase me. I normally get that. And unfortunately, this person does normally get it because they're good looking and they presented themselves as having a lot of money. So again, there's a lot more superficial people in the world than there are truth speakers, and you're a truth speaker, and that was actually scary and turned this person off a little bit. Why? Here for a good time, not a long time. I don't want to go deep. I don't want to form emotional connection. You make me think too much. And in the fact that you think too much, it makes me feel inadequate about myself. Brings me back to the very first relationship that I had, that I wound up giving up too much power. So now this person says, I'll never give up too much power again. I get into relationships and they give me their power. I deliberately orchestrated how I was going to be in relationships so I would never get hurt again because they're insecure. You know, how a person gets strong within themselves is they create themselves. We're not who our parents tell us to be. We're not the school that we go to. We are not anything outside of ourselves. The kingdom of heaven's inside of you. If you can imagine it, you can create it. You have to become yourself in order to create a new way where there is no way. This person comes from the past. They repeat sabotaging behaviorisms because they're always coming from a logical, analytical mind. And that's all about ego, and it's about control. And it's because they're insecure. So they continually, you never know who you're dealing with. They continually get in their own way. They overthink too much. And what they'll see is that it's, again, when they're in a relationship, they expect you to give a lot, overgive. Again, be dutiful to them. It's, I'm going to act secure, I'm going to hold back, and then you're going to feel like you need to give me more. Or I'm going to act self-righteous, and then you're going to be intimidated to give me more because you're going to know that I'm not going to give more. And when a person is coming from a low vibration, they tend to give more. Expected you to be dutiful to them while never apologizing for the way that they treated you, for not giving you any attention, from withdrawing from you whenever you had a question, whenever you were like, I want to know what's going on with the connection. I want to know where I stand in the connection, or even like hint. And I feel like you tried to, like, I don't want to say manipulate, but you tried every technique to like figure out like what was going on in your connection, like whether or not this person wanted to just be friends, whether they wanted a friends with benefits, you wanted to know what was going on in your connection. And this person, every time you would ask, they would withdraw from you. They wouldn't give you any attention, but they expected you to be dutiful to them, continue to give to them. Just very selfish behavior. And then again, when it comes to you, they act like they don't care. And really, they procrastinate coming back to apologize, to with any change behavior. So it's almost like I feel like this person just wanted to keep you on the hook without giving you anything. You know why? I mean, because a person doesn't put this much attention into acting like they don't care and also wanting to confine you. It's almost like I feel like this person considers you like their property, almost like they own you. And it's not even like this person has built an emotional connection. They just believe that they have the rights to you. And I believe because there's a spiritual connection. So they just automatically think that you guys are going to wind up together, that you should give to them. And the reason why is because this person's used to not putting in any effort and having people give emotionally to them. So, of course, why wouldn't you if you actually have a spiritual connection with them? Thing is that this person didn't give you any time. They didn't really put in any effort. And it was all about them trying to get you to chase them, you to give them energy. Where it's again, they're never in their heart. You always feel like they're strategizing, that they're planning to like get over, like it's a game, like it's a power play. And there are consequences for their actions. That's what finally happened. Because you were like tired of the games. You're like, I don't feel like you're in your heart. It's all about you getting something from me, never you asking about me. You never giving me any reassurance, making me feel safe, making me feel wanted. Like these things are important when you're in a relationship with someone. Person acts like they don't give a shit, but then they're giving you just enough to keep you on the hook. And that's why you're like, I can see it's all like you're strategizing, you're like playing a game with me. You're not giving me intimacy. And intimacy happens when a person is transparent. It's when a person is able to communicate. This person is not emotionally intelligent. So again, it's all about power plays, having the upper hand, having control. And I believe it's because they were hurt. At one time, they were really hurt by a relationship, had nothing to do with you, but you trigger emotions that this person has not had in a really long time. It's overstimulating. So what they do is they overcompensate for the insecurity. They act like a rebel. And how they act like a rebel is they don't give you attention. They strategize. It's all about getting the upper hand, and you saw right through it. And I believe you called them out on it and they never gave you an apology. Instead, what they do is they withdraw. But then they still believe that the impossible is going to happen. Because again, this is a soulmate connection. So it's almost like I have a right to treat you however I want, which no one wants to be with someone selfish. But this person believes that it's going to be happily ever after. Anyway. And the reason why is because they're in fantasy land. They're not really, they daydream about you all the time, but they're so delusional, between their big ego, and their fear guiding them, strategizing. They're always coming from a place of fear that they self-sabotage them. So their reality of what they see in their mind is a lot different than what they tend to manifest. This is why they don't trust themselves. This is why they want you to give all the energy. This way, if they don't give anything, they won't get hurt. They won't look stupid. This person cares a lot about the appearance, what things look like. And again, they're ready to do whatever they need to do to provoke you, to again, almost like they're very unpredictable behavior because you're not feeding into them. You're not giving this person anything. So they're getting agitated. They're is it, like, again, they're getting like emotional, and they're getting emotional because you're not doing anything and they're strategizing, and the more that they strategize, the more that they feel like you moving away from them. So it's almost like this person wants to rush in and provoke you to like ignite some sort of conversation, because you're not talking to this person, you're not giving them anything, because you're like, first of all, you're not transparent with me. I don't know what the fuck this relationship is. I don't know whether you want to be in a relationship, you don't want to be in a relationship, you want to control me. I don't know what we're doing. Every time I ask you, you avoid, you avoid answering, you withdraw from me, you stonewall me, you act cocky, you act like, again, a rebel without a cause, but it's really you're insecure. So, and you don't feel like you need to put any energy into this relationship. You actually believe in the impossible. You're living it like in your fantasy. And that's why this person feels like, well, I believe that I can simulate the situation by being unpredictable and running in and antagonizing you somehow, because again, they have a lot of different emotions. They're cocky. That's number one. But they're also insecure. So they're overthinking in their head. They're too much strategizing, but they're again strategizing from not a place of balance. They're not coming from their true self, their higher self. They're coming from the place of their wound. They don't trust themselves because all their relationships, this is what they do. They don't want to come from the heart. They want to be, again, logical, analytical, so that they can strategize, so that they can always have the upper hand. And that's what this person believes that relationships are. They believe that someone needs to have more power than the other person, and that you're not kind of following suit. You're supposed to be dutiful to them. You're supposed to, if you really like them, you'd be chasing them. You would again be giving up all your power. This person has a false sense of entitlement, and they're also extremely codependent and tend to not be in relationships, but be in trauma bonds, which is why they don't trust relationships. And the thing is, their trauma bond is that they're always the runner and somebody else is always chasing them. So their ego is always big. This fell on the floor and it was just a joker card. So I believe that this person's a chameleon, because that's my chameleon card when I don't take it out. They'll become whoever you want them to become for however long that they feel that they need to in order to connect. And it's because they're not ever coming from their true self, their higher self. They're always planning and strategizing. They're too much in their ego, and they're too insecure. Again, they believe that if someone really cares about them, really likes them, they should be kissing their ass. They should be giving them, praising them, and you're not doing that. So there's punishment for that, because this person doesn't like that you're a little bit too confident for them. They believe that you're acting like you're on a high horse. Where you're not on a high horse, you expect give and take reciprocity. This person's not used to having to do that. So the fact that you know your worth and that you're standing your ground, and this person undervalued you by not giving you any attention, you wanted an apology. This person knows that you wanted an apology. They were being too big for their britches. They were like, no, you should give that to me. If you really like me, you should be, again, trying to win me over. Whether this is a girl or guy, it doesn't matter. It's, again, this is their attitude. And that's the thing when you dumpster dive. When you dumpster dive, you have a lot of options, but your options aren't good. And I feel like you're not of a low vibration. Yeah, there's an emotional connection. There's a psychic connection still. And that is what this person can't deal with. It's, again, they take things way too personally with you because they have feelings for you, and you're on a higher vibration than what they're used to. So it's again, they have an emotional connection. They don't want to have an emotional connection because they actually feel vulnerable, they feel weak, and they don't want to. So they would feel a lot more secure if you were like chasing after them. So again, they know who you are. They know who you are. Again, you make this person self-examine themselves and they don't like it. Again, this person doesn't normally do any self-reflection because, again, what they see is that there's a lot of void. Because when a person has shadows, they create masks and personas. That's not the real self, the true self. That's a imaginary, that's a chameleon. That's I'm gonna be who you want me to be for a limited time only because no one can really fake the funk of being someone else. But that's what's happening right now. It's like this person being around you makes them dive deep within inside of themselves and have these deep thoughts that are, again, too overstimulating, makes them feel weak, makes them feel vulnerable. They don't like it. It brings them back to a time that they got hurt, that they got screwed over. So they have a lot of negative self-talk. There's too many that fell out. I'm just gonna pull one more from this deck. Yeah, this person saw you as someone as being compassionate, as being unselfish, as again, someone that's going to take care of others. So you may be someone that's a humanitarian, you may be someone that's a healer, you may be someone that is again a counselor, someone that works in the service industry, someone that's just very giving, nurturing, and that is what this person thought. So again, they see your worth, but they viewed you through not knowing you, again, perceiving you, maybe again through your job, through the fact that you're always helping people, that you're have this humanitarian type of energy to you, someone that's always helping in the community, making better. So again, that you have this calm life, that you're very good with communication, that you would be compassionate. But it's almost like I feel like this person thought that they were going to capitalize on your good character traits. Like you have good character in the fact that you would want to help, that you are compassionate. So I don't really have to give anything. You should want to be dutiful because that's who I perceive that you are. I don't really have to give anything. But then when you again ask for it, if this person again had to look at themselves, that doesn't make them feel good about themselves. Again, you're making them not feel good about themselves. So what they do is, again, they withdraw. They have a lot of anger inside of themselves, just a lot of anger because relationships never work out. And they really don't want to be in a relationship with anybody down deep inside. It feels like, it almost feels like they want to be with someone that's just going to give up all their rights, someone that's going to be completely dutiful to them, someone that's going almost like a slave, someone that doesn't have an opinion, someone that doesn't have a want, someone that doesn't show any sort of individuality, nobody that's confident, only someone that's going to give to this person and that they can do whatever they want when they want. And it's due to a bad relationship that they had a long time ago. And unfortunately, every single person that they're going to date after is going to pay for that. And they're going to think that that's okay because, hey, they got hurt. So it's okay where it's not okay. So you have to ask yourself, why did you attract a person like this? Because it's not even worth it to ask anything because, listen, they have resentment. They're angry. Do I feel this person's going to come back? I actually do feel like they're going to come back, but they're going to come back not in the right way. Again, they're going to try to like create, like antagonize you. They're going to try and start something. And the reason why is because they're angry. You didn't act the way that they wanted to. Again, they're going to strategize coming back. They're going to try to ignite, accelerate, stimulate again, but not in a good way, in a versatile way. So you better watch out again in a way because this person's imbalanced. They're not coming from their true self. They're coming from the ego. And right now, what you did was you stood up for yourself. And this person still is very attracted to you. They expected you to be a certain way. You were in a certain way. They thought eventually you'll cave. You didn't cave. They're resentful. So being that they have resentment, you know that their bitterness, they're not going to come back in the right way. They're not. Magic. Now, these are the inner child cards. Now, if ever you grew up in an environment with a parent that you didn't trust, someone that was angry like someone that this person didn't get their way, and instead of them coming back with an apology and being transparent, they want to come back and they want to actually like start a fight, kind of, like try to ignite something, but not in a positive way. They're imbalanced. So I feel like you grew up with somebody that was like that instead of them being able to have a conversation, they would get very volatile. They saw everything as an attack against them. And that's what happens when a person grows up in an environment where they're abused, where they're continually made to feel as if that there's something wrong with them. And if you see that this person had that, again, they feel out of tune. So again, they feel inadequate because they feel insecure. So that's why they want to feel powerful by constraining you and having somebody be dutiful to them. That feeds their ego. And I feel like you grew up in a similar environment where a parent was self-entitled because they were your parent. A little bit narcissistic energy, which means that you didn't trust. And when you don't feel that you can trust a parent, you wind up, believing or not, having magic. Why? Because a child that survives thrives. The child will go into their imagination. And the imagination is the porthole to actually being able to manifest your dreams. If you can imagine it, you can create it. So I feel like this person kind of pushed you into, again, you stepping into your magic, your sensitivity, your psychic abilities, your craft. You poured into yourself. You didn't stick around for this person. Again, they expected you to be dutiful to them. What you were was dutiful to yourself. Like, nope, you're not going to constrain me. You found your gifts again, and that was magic. And that happens again when you grew up in an environment that didn't make you feel safe. If parents didn't make you feel loved, weren't nurturing. And it doesn't mean that your parents didn't love. Understand, parents are just people. But the child's self, how the child perceives it. So if you grew up in an environment where there was one parent, if you grew up where the parents didn't get along, any turbulent environment as a child will push the child to go inward to, again, imagination, imaginary friends, right? Imagination is a form of escapism for a child. They go up in their head, they go in daydream land. But understand, that's the astral realm. If you can imagine it, you can create it. So it is a gift, because when you ground your imagination and your creativity, well, that's when you find your gifts, your psychic abilities, you find your talents. Because again, you poured into yourself, you were dutiful to yourself. This person wanted you to feed them. And if you would have fed them, oof, Madon, you would just be like another one bites the dust with this person, because that's what they do. Again, rebellious. You were seen as rebellious. You're someone that marches to your own drum. You have beat to your own drum. Well, you already saw that card. Rebellious. Wasn't gonna pick it up, but we will. Okay, rebellious. Okay, rebellious, meaning you don't care. I'm not gonna be dutiful, even though you're my parents. I don't agree with what you have to say. You won't let me be my true self. So that was seen as rebellious, but that's actually a positive thing. You know, we're born into societies and families that tell us who to be, what to think, what to look like, what we should like, who we should vote for, what we should wear, what should, down to everything. And if our parents aren't telling us, our school is telling us. And if our school's not telling us, our church is telling us. And if our church isn't, someone's telling us who we should be. So in actuality, when you are rebellious as a child, it's actually kind of good, because what it is that you're not going to follow the crowd. You're going to, again, embrace your true self, your true individuality. And that's actually what triggers this person. So you weren't dutiful to this person because you have your own persona. That's intimidating for this person. This person likes it, but they want to own it. They want to be a part of it. They actually would be in competition with you because they don't have an identity. So what they love about you is also intimidating, and they're not on a high enough vibration to be able to enjoy it or to learn from it. So it's almost like life seems too easy for you because you got away from this person. You got away from this person. They couldn't trick you. Nurturance. So when you don't have parents to nurture you, you got to nurture yourself. So you reparented yourself, and when you reparented yourself, you did seem as you were rebellious, and you do seem rebellious because you're not afraid to do what you love, say what you mean. You're not afraid to be your true self, your higher self. And the higher self is the God part of self. That's their true self. That's always coming from a place of unconditional love. This person wants that. They saw it as nurturing. They saw it as a humanitarian, but they saw it as all for me. We have a spiritual connection, so it's all for me. I don't have to do anything. Now they're angry because you're not coming back. You poured into yourself, and now they're angry because you're making them look at themselves. They don't want to look at themselves. They were mighty fine navigating their life, having the upper hand all the time. That's not happening. So expect this person to come out. Watch out. Again, it says it. Watch out. Because this person plays a lot of games. They play a lot of games. They're going to win at all costs. And they actually feel like, well, we have this psychic connection, ESP. I believe that we'll still wind up. Fairy tale. So they believe it. So they're coming in, believing it, but also being insecure. So they're all over the place. They're very emotional. They're going to be very versatile. They're going to try and start something because they say, well, either you're going to be with me or you're going to react. And then I could say, see, there was something wrong with you. Either way, my ego stays intact. So if you're smart, you won't give this person anything. You won't give this person anything because they want a reaction. They want to be able to read you. They want to be able to manipulate you. They're not in their heart space. They're in their ego. And your confidence triggers this person. And I have a feeling like you grew up around someone that always used to try to take your energy. And that's why you're manifesting this. Again, grew up with a parent. And I say that because when we, again, have a lot of trauma, we find our magic at a very young age. We find our gifts. We have spiritual abilities. Why? Because a child survives, thrives. It's again, survival mechanism, intuition, gut. Have to have eyes in the back of your head when you can't trust a parent. That's why, or if a parent doesn't make you feel safe, or if the environment, whatever environment you were in, didn't make you feel safe. So we end off with what does Spirit tell us to do, which obviously you're already on the right track. Continue to be rebellious, continue to use your gifts, continue to find your magic, because that's how God makes a way where there is no way, just for you. And that's away from this person that you're actually creating yourself so you can, again, attract someone that's going to match the vibration of unconditional love because you poured into yourself. You were dutiful to yourself. And in that, you gave yourself love. So when you fill yourself with love and you become love, you can only attract love. This person was counterfeit. They were karmic. Affirmation. I listen to myself and I acknowledge my needs. I assess myself and retain my power. I am brave and gentle. I don't have to be afraid of others. I respect myself and am respected by others. And you are. And you are. And this person isn't. And that is why they kind of want to be associated with you, or they feel that they're not respected by others because they don't, again, really know who they are. They're basing who they are on all their past relationships. And again, they're never in their heart. They're always strategizing because they're always coming from a place of fear. And when we come only from a place of fear, we can't manifest anything that's on a higher vibration. Should only come from a place of fear as if we're running for our lives, if we're really in a life-threatening thing. A relationship should not trigger us where it does this person. That's how we know they need healing. And that's why, again, you did exactly what you needed to do. And Spirit says, continue to listen to yourself and know your worth. Be gentle, but be strong and always be true to you. I'm going to leave that there. I love you guys. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.